The Cruel Prince. You've probably heard a lot about this book. I know a lot of other people have already talked about it. And I was kind of debating, like, do I talk about this or do I not? But I really want to because I also want to do a prediction video for the next book, The Wicked King. But anyway, this was my second time reading this book, so I hope I have all my information down. So if you're interested to see my thoughts about this, just stay tuned and continue to watch. Thank you. The Cruel Prince is mainly focuses on a girl named Jude. She's human, and for the beginning of her life, she was living with her twin sister Taryn and their older sister Viv until one day some green man busts through the door and ends up killing their parents because they find out that Viv is actually this green man. His name is Maddox. Viv is his daughter, if that makes sense. He then whisks them all away to live in the land of Fae, and the story focuses on basically Jude's life as she navigates her way living there and the politics that happen. So it's a really interesting story, even just by like the summary and like what you get within like the first chapter. And of course, like mortals in the land of Fae are not viewed in a positive way. A lot of them are actually slaves and don't really have as many benefits or the freedom that both Jude and her twin sister Taryn have. So a lot of Fae feel conflicted or kind of view them in a negative way. However, because Maddox is actually the general to the army of the High King, they have a little bit of protection around them, but not much because there are some people who like to bother them still. So this book is told in the perspective of Jude. Usually I hate books like this because they use like I, me, my, and whatever else, and I can never separate the author like writing it that way and the character that it's supposed to be from. Like I never really focus that it's the character like saying and doing this or experiencing it. I always have the view of like, oh, this is the author writing it like this. Like the author's not doing this. The author isn't saying this. Like, why do they do this to me? And I hate that usually. However, Holly Black does a really great job in her writing style of creating this kind of world and writing from the perspective of Jude. I never thought while I read this book that, oh, this is Holly Black saying this. I don't really like this. And I always thought it was Jude. I thought it was a great job. I had previously read 2 of the 3 books in Holly Black's Tith series, and unfortunately I really didn't enjoy it. I know that was one of her first series for as an author, so that's understandable now, as The Cruel Prince is great writing style. I totally enjoyed it. And of course, like when authors have their first series or they publish their first book, their writing style will change and develop over time and get better with each book that they write. So I am very happy that The Cruel Prince was such a nice read for me, because usually if I don't like a book from an author, I really don't return to their books. I mean, I might try for a second time, but when I read both of those books in that series, and they just both didn't sit right with me, I didn't think I'd go back. But the summary and like, I don't know, just I had a good feeling about The Cruel Prince. In any case, she did a great job writing this book, and kudos to you, Holly Black. So as I've said, Jude is a human girl, and she's living in the land of Fae with her twin sister Taryn and half-sister Viv, and in the house of Maddox, who I said is the general of the army, and his new wife and son, Oak. And so basically Jude and Taryn are very close. Obviously, I believe, twins have this amazing relationship with one another, and they have a special connection that I myself do not understand because I am not a twin. However, they are also like polar opposites basically. Jude doesn't back down if somebody challenges her. She's always, right there to meet any kind of wall that she faces and always tries to overcome it or fight back. Taryn, on the other hand, is quite meek or weak. If somebody does something bad to her, she'll just accept it and just go along with the flow because she just wants it to go away and to stop. So for that, I don't like that in a character. I prefer Jude's type. Jude ends up defending Taryn a lot, protecting Taryn a lot, and Taryn doesn't really do the same for Jude. It's really unfortunate where you see Jude is like busting her butt, to protect Taryn. However, Taryn is like, whoopsie, but not really whoopsie. She does it intentionally, which Jude can see and also says it's okay. But I don't know, if it were me, I would not be okay. So basically, most of this story involves Jude and Taryn and their interactions with one of the princes of Fae. His name is Cardan. And Cardan is a type of leader of this small group of his friends, and they really give Jude and Taryn a hard time, almost to the point where it's like very abusive, or not even almost, it is abusive, and it's quite like, ugh, to read about. And you wonder kind of like how that relationship will change like later on in the book and whatnot. But throughout their encounters with Cardan, Jude is always the one who doesn't like back down, and she'll protect Taryn, like I said earlier. And Jude will take the brunt of it physically, verbally, probably emotionally as well, in order to protect Taryn. And there's a lot of bullying in the story, so if you're very sensitive to that, I don't think I'd recommend this book to you. But even from the very beginning, where Matta kills their parents, and then throughout the story where Cardan and his friends bully Taryn and Jude, whether it's physically like grabbing them or like making them eat some kind of fey fruit, which, makes humans kind of go all loopy and like drunk almost on this magic. Even one of Cardan's friends, I guess, in his group goes all the way to the point of trying to kill Jude at one point during the story. So I do caution you as you read this, if you are very sensitive or don't like that kind of thing, this book might not be for you. And it's not just once that he tries to kill Jude. He tries it actually on multiple occasions, trying to suffocate her, and then later on he breaks into her house and tries to kill her in her room. So yeah, that one friend of Cardan is quite vicious to Jude. And Cardan himself is also very mean to Jude. He does bully her. He tells her, like, stop coming to class. He doesn't like to see her. He always, is looking at her in a certain kind of way. He's not as vicious as his friend Valerian, the one that was trying to kill her multiple times. He never goes to that point where it's like, is he gonna kill her? I'll give him a little credit to that. He's not a good character in the beginning and through most of the book, so don't twist me. But we do throughout the story, as time progresses, we do see Cardan not bullying Jude as much as he used to, and he would even eventually intervene. So during the story, Jude really wants to become some kind of knight in the High King's like court and whatnot. She really likes or enjoys the thrill of battle and fighting other people in a way, because she does have that aggressive attitude and she doesn't back down, like I said earlier. And she wants the High King to notice her and accept her, because she is immortal and a lot of the Fae don't. Her goal for most of the beginning towards the middle of the story, and she ends up joining a tournament to kind of show her skills and try to get noticed. However, it doesn't work out that way, but she does end up becoming a spy for another prince of Fae, Prince Dane, and she ends up joining his Court of Shadows, which is a group of Fae who basically find out information for Prince Dane, and they find out secrets, they try and keep him safe, and they kind of also take out his enemies as well in order to protect him, because everyone considers him to be the next one to become the High King. So it's very important that they protect him and, make sure the crown is secure. And while being a part of this team, she just becomes more of a badass throughout the story. After she joins this Court of Shadows, takes more risks, she does more challenging things, and it really shows how brave Jude is and how determined she is in order to get to her goal throughout the story. And then she ends up learning some secrets and kind of takes them throughout the rest of the book with her, and there starts a kind of chain of events that alter basically life as Jude knows it in the land of Fae. And oh my gosh, I can't recommend it enough. The twists and turns in this story are some that I could have never predicted. Usually I'm pretty good at predicting, like, oh, this is probably going to happen, or so-and-so is probably going to die or whatnot, but this story was really great at kind of steering you in such a way that you really couldn't think about what could happen next, or if you did, you were probably wrong, I guess. I don't know. That was my case in this story. But the first event that happened that kind of like threw me for a loop was the relationship that Jude developed with another person in Cardan's group of friends named Locke. He kind of flirts with Jude, and they kind of develop a somewhat intimate relationship. And she, has a bit of a crush on Locke, and, that's normal and whatnot, because he shows her a lot of affection and kind of, I wouldn't say he like woos her in a way, but he's like there for her when everyone else is kind of being mean. And for a part of time, I did hope that Jude would end up with Locke, because I was like, oh, he's very nice to her, and, he's kind of handsome and whatever else. But oh my God, when it was revealed that Locke was also secretly seeing Jude's sister Taryn, holy bananas. I cannot tell you how shocked I was when I read it the first time, because it's like, it was totally secret. Jude had no idea. She thought, Taryn was seeing someone because Taryn, was wearing nice outfits and, was trying to like not be some kind of like bratty kid and whatnot. But I had no idea she was going to be seeing Locke. And the fact that Taryn never told Jude just blew my mind. Even though Taryn would see Locke and Jude together, like he would, be whispering in her ear or like leading her away, to safety, and dance together. And like Jude would see Taryn off in the corner, just like looking at them like, but she didn't like piece it together. And neither did I. I, didn't think about it at all. But oh my gosh, when that was revealed, I was like, oh no, sir. No, sir. You are a man-ho. Just grossed by the fact that both Taryn and Locke knew, like, they were, like, seeing each other, and then they knew that, or at least Taryn knew that Locke was also seeing her twin sister. Like, isn't that disgusting? Like, do you want to kiss the same guy that's kissed your sister? Like, are you serious? And it also, like, really made me angry. Like, what kind of a sister does that? Like, why wouldn't you be honest with your sister and like, hey, actually, I really like him or like so-and-so and whatever else. Like, are you serious? And the next event that really threw me for a whirl was when a big slaughter happened, when the High King was going to crown Prince Dane or Dine, whatever his name is, and Prince Belkin is just like, no, 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 I am going to be the next High King. However, you need somebody in the royal family to crown you in order for it to be real. So the High King refused to, and Belkin ended up like slaughtering his whole family except Cardan in order to try and get the crown. And I thought he would have left his sisters alive, but nope, they were slaughtered too. Nobody can find Cardan. There's like a mad rush to try and find this guy. And then it turns out too that it was Maddox who was helping Belkin. So Maddox had kept it a secret from everybody. Like Jude had no idea, and Maddox just helped kill everyone, even the High King who he served. Definitely something I wasn't expecting. Like I could see like some people dying, but not his whole family except Cardan. Time goes on and Jude starts putting these pieces together. She ends up finding Cardan at this party where he's been like hiding and he's kind of drunk and whatever, and she ends up taking him as prisoner. She whisks him away to the secret location of where the Court of Shadows usually meets, and he becomes kind of her prisoner. And this is where more of the sexual tension happens, because she kind of confronts him and it's like, why do you hate me? Whatever else. And he ends up telling her basically that he can't stop thinking about her and he hates himself for it. And she ends up kissing him, and it is very nice to read. As a reader, I love romance. And when they kissed, I almost died because they've had this, huge conflict throughout the whole story. Even though he showed her a little bit of kindness, he was, very mean to her. When the kiss happened, I was like, oh my God. And he definitely enjoyed it, and she enjoyed it too. And they both hated themselves for it. Jude then makes Cardan take an oath to her, which is very serious in the land of Fae and bound by magic. She basically has control over him with this oath, and her control will last a year and a day and not a minute more. Which for her at that moment is good. And basically while Cardan is captured by Jude, she goes home to kind of think about things, continues to piece together all these pieces of the puzzle because of this secret plan she has hidden away in the back of her mind. And in order for her plan to work, she goes to the other leaders in Fae and tries to convince them to like back her up that Belkin should not be the next High King and that it should be somebody else. She hopes to gain their favor, but she doesn't know until the moment is upon them. She discovers a new and very important piece of information about Madoc's wife, Oriana, and her son, Oak. And it turns out that Oak is related to the royal family as one of, I guess, as the child of one of the High King's lovers, but she was also the lover of Prince Dane. So it's actually, Oak is actually Prince Dane's son, if that makes any sense. So Oak is the son of Prince Dane who has been slain, and he is the key, or another key, to crowning the next High King because he has the royal blood in him. So he and Cardan both can crown whoever. So she comes up with a plan with Oriana to help protect Oak. However, she tells something different to Cardan. At the last moment, she commands Cardan not to move for like a minute, and it's Oak that has like the crown that they practiced, and Oak ends up crowning Cardan as the next High King. And so Cardan becomes the High King of Fae with the support of the other leaders in Fae, and Belkin is left crownless and pissed. So the story ends on such a note where I'm just like, why did you end it here, Holly Black? But it ends basically with Cardan being furious and saying that he will be her puppet for a year and a day and not a minute more. Oh, it's such a good ending, but an annoying one because I just wanted more. I cannot tell you how excited I am for The Wicked King, which is coming out next month. Like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting a whole year for this book. I just can't wait to see what happens because Jude and Cardan already had that kind of little fling starting, but I can only imagine how wonderful it's gonna be in the next book. I'm such a bad romantic, I don't know. Only a few more weeks to go and then I will have The Wicked King in my hands. I am so excited. You could have probably guessed the rating I gave The Cruel Prince, but I definitely give this book a 5 out of 5. I love this book from beginning to end. I thought it was a great read. I thought it was captivating and interesting, and all of the twists and turns were just so wonderful. And I couldn't really predict a lot of what happened in the story. I didn't think Locke was, with Taryn. I didn't think all of Cardan's family would die except Belkin and I guess, his nephew or something. His nephew Oak. Oh my god. I am so looking forward to The Wicked King and what other surprises are gonna come forth, and I just can't wait. And I think I'm gonna probably post some kind of prediction video, so please stay tuned for that. Anyway, if you've read the story, let me know your thoughts on it. Let me know if you liked it or if you didn't like it. Let me know like what you're reading now or what you enjoyed after reading this, because I found I had a very big void in my life after I finished this book, which usually happens to me after I finish a really good book. I'm always like, what can I do now? What can I read now? So anyway, let me know your thoughts below, and thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you again in the next video. Bye!